Mike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
I'm JC, and thank you so much for accepting this little interview to know a bit more about the Roblox community, the builders, the developers, how people manage to make it a business and have fun doing it.
Yes, thank
So,
you for the invite.
could you maybe tell us about yourself? What's your background? How did you come to Roblox? And anything relevant for today?
Yeah, so when I was about 13, I got a demo disc in the mail that, one of the gaming magazines back in the day that would have some demos, but there was video of behind the scenes development from a studio called Zipper Interactive, which developed one of my favorite games, SOCOM US Navy SEALs, and seeing them do their work behind the scenes, modeling, programming, all that. That's exactly when I knew I wanted to be a game designer. After that, I started looking into ways to get tuition since I didn't have the most money. And I looked at the different military branches, and I ended up choosing the Marines for the GI Bill to get the tuition to pay for a degree in game design. So joined up with the Marines after high school and was a combat engineer doing demolition, construction, and explosives. And after that, I went to school, got my bachelor's degree in video game design and digital entertainment. After that, I taught for a little bit. I taught second through eighth grade game design on smaller engines like Game Maker and Scratch, App Inventor. After that, the commute through Boston to teach was got a little bit too much, and after that, I just decided to start making games on my own. I started off with Unity,
All right.
was getting good with that, and then they switched it up. They went from Unity script to C sharp, and that was a big jump because I was just learning Unity script instead of jumping in and learning C sharp. I thought I'd check out other game engines that were viable before I started learning C sharp. My younger cousin was into Roblox a lot, and he told me about it. And I kind of shrugged it off like, yeah, whatever. And then I found out, how much some of the top developers were making. I said, all right, maybe I'll check it out and give it a shot. I'm glad I did, especially as a solo developer. It's been very helpful, a lot more user friendly than Unity was.
Well, that's a great, inspiring story because maybe the first intuition of a lot of Unity developers is that developing on Roblox is less interesting or
Yeah.
less cool, or I don't know. Well, what do you think about that?
Well, it was really just, it's the kids version of it. It's like it's the kids platform. It's all kids games. You're only gonna get kids, but that's a huge market. It's not, yeah, it is kid focused, but that's more of a safety thing. But there are some very high quality games. Once I played Pokemon Brick Bronze, that was really the main thing. I said, all right, this is a legitimate engine. They've got legitimate games. I got kind of addicted to it. So I said, all right, if they got these kind of games on here, I'm sure I can make something with my degree that'll be playable.
So, what are the games you're involved in? And I want to say how much you're involved, but I think you created these games, right? On your own.
Yeah, I have two games that I made myself. Troop Life was my original and main game. It was really just a practice place when I started, just to kind of teach myself all the different aspects of game design, different parts of the engine, the animation tools, and the different parts of the coding. So all these different mini games I started creating, and then some random people would start filtering in and joining. And I said, well, if people are joining without me even doing any ads for it, I think I have something here. So I just kept building, and I told the players that as long as they kept joining and playing, then I'll keep adding to it and updating it. And it was my little my starter project that ended up becoming my main goal. I built Board Life really just to kind of keep me from getting burnt out from working too much on it, because it was my only project. As I was building Board Life, it wasn't even halfway done when it got popular because of Flamingo playing it. I did one ad just kind of test to see
Oh,
how.
really?
Yeah, I was just testing to see how the scripts would do, because it was still in beta. So I just did one small test run with advertisements just to see how it would do and how what kind of bugs I would get. And then the next day I had like
Okay.
1,000 players in game. I woke up with 1,000 players,
Oh,
and
really?
I was like, holy crap, yeah. And I joined the game to see what was going on. I said I must have did a really good ad or something, No, it had nothing to do with the ad. It was all from his video. Because as soon as I joined the game, everyone was asking me, "How does it feel to have your game played by, Flamingo?" And I was like, Who's Flamingo?" So I had to look it up on YouTube and found my game, on
Oh,
his website with
you
a
didn't
million.
know Flamingo at
No,
that time.
I had no idea who Flamingo was until
Oh,
someone told
that's
me about it. I had
so
to look him
cool.
up. Yeah, so once I found the video, I said, okay, that's where all these guys are coming from.
How many plays do you have right now?
I think each game they probably got about 100 people in them usually at a time. Board Life,
Okay.
even though it had a huge following from those videos, because I think Gaming with Jen and Pat, they did a video after Flamingo did, so that just brought more people in. And I wasn't ready for it. I had to scramble really fast to try to get it, playable and out of beta once that rush of people came in. But again, it was my side project, so I wasn't really that interested in keeping it updated and working on it. So I kind of let that
Okay.
fall by the wayside and keep going with Troop Life, try to get that up on the front page. Troop Life's been hard just because of the scope that I wanted for it has been a little bit bigger than what I think I've been able to handle on as a solo developer.
The game concept come from your background or ancient idea?
Yeah, it was really just what I like to play and what I would like to work on. If it's something interesting for me to work on, then I'll usually do it. The inspiration behind it, really, it was when a couple of buddies of mine, when in our platoon when I was in the Marines, we were talking in the shop, our little hangout area when we're back in the States. We were talking about all these military games like Call of Duty. They always have the war side, the combat side, and they never really show, just the boring parts of base. When I first started playing Roblox, just to kind of test it out and check out Brick Bronze, I started seeing these military games that were all kind of role-playing games, but none of them had any kind of coding in them. There was no scripting really at all. It was all just kind of like one or two tools just to salute and at ease, and that was really the only kind of tools they had inside of them. So I said, I can make something like this that actually has coding and some decent playable features in it. So that was the main draw, was seeing that there was a market for those kind of players and they just didn't have anywhere to go really that had coding in it.
It's a great game, I think.
Thank you.
Well, I discovered it recently and been playing quite a few times. It's a cool game.
Thank you. Yeah,
Um,
I'm working on all the
qu-
combat updates right now. Hopefully, it'll get up there on the player list
okay,
once I finish up these combat updates. Everyone's waiting for the
cool.
the planes and helicopters to start shooting, but I want to make sure everything else is stable before I introduce that.
Are you doing this on your own, or do you need any help, or hire some friends for some specific tasks, or how do you manage to update such a game?
It's been tough. Like I said at the beginning, it was just a solo project of me just kind of practicing my skills. And then as it developed, I said, okay, this is going to be tough because, yeah, all doing all my own animation and all my own coding and the modeling and everything. It's tough. But, at this stage, it's just hard to trust people with something I put so much work into, of having someone new come on. My younger cousin that did introduce me to Roblox, I've had him help me a few times just with building some basic like building models and stuff that he helps with. But he's not too into game design. He's kind of, he's rather to play the games than build them. So I only have him help out once in a while. Usually if I need like a big model done, something that's really complex, I'll just get it off the like Turbo Squid. I'll buy a good high quality, low poly model, something like that, where I can use it just to reduce development time so I can focus on more coding stuff. But I'm not against working with other people or bringing people on, especially if I've got a few concepts in my back pocket that I started. So if I brought somebody on for that, I would have no problem working with a team. It's just, since with my degree that I got in game design, it kind of introduced me to, all the different aspects of game design. I feel like, if I can do it in a reasonable amount of time, then I can make it happen.
This has completely changed your career path.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
what age are you?
I am 35 now.
And you've been developing on Roblox for 5 years?
Yeah.
We could say that your story is a bit different than a young developer on Roblox that started when he was 12, 13, 14.
Yep.
But your story is really relevant for us, I think. Well, when I say us, it's the whole community, because this shows that even if you had a previous career or a business life, you can go and develop on Roblox and be successful.
Yeah, it's all about how
This
much you
is
want it.
absolutely, yeah. Do you have any projects that you can leak, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, I got a few. There's a few concepts that I started as group games that I started building up just to have the core foundation in case I want to start working on them again. One is the one that I'm most excited about that I'd like to start working on when I got the time for it would probably be Fight Life, which is really just like a Street Fighter Tekken style fighting game. I was thinking about doing one that was like kind of like Super Smash Brothers Melee, but then I saw there was one that already came out on Roblox like that. I'm more into the 2D side scroller thing. I haven't seen that yet on Roblox as far as a fighting game's concerned. So I think that'd be interesting
True,
uh,
yeah.
to have that set up on there and kind of bring it back to the old school arcade days.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I've played Street Fighter recently on Switch, and
Oh yeah,
it's just like the old one,
yeah,
but you don't have to go in an arcade room. You have it
yeah.
in your at home. It's so cool. The kind of questions that a lot of our builders and developers, maybe under 20 years old, ask is how do you get where you are? How do you start? Do you need help? Did you need help? What was your biggest mistakes? What is missing maybe in the process to help develop and build better experiences on Roblox and growing that building community? Tell us about your story. What was missing maybe when you started, and
Okay.
what would be great to have today, tools or help, any help?
So when I first started out, it was very intimidating because I saw these huge groups of like a million people in their group of this military role playing game, and I would say, oh man, if I just had that many players, then I'd be making this much money. But don't let that fool you, because a lot of groups have a lot of players and nobody's playing the game, because a lot of groups force you to join the group just to be able to try out the game or to get into the base or something like that. So I've never done that before. I have that up on my group description now, that we don't ask for anything or require anybody to join the group for anything. We don't give anything away for joining. It's all voluntary. So I take pride in getting that. Really, the milestones are a big thing, to keep track of. When I first started, getting to like 1,000 people that have played the game, or 1 million plays, you forget about those little things when you start getting up to the 10 million mark or something like that. Like my group just hit 50,000. It was a big deal, and I kind of like let it go by the wayside, thinking, oh, that's nothing. But when I was first starting out, when if I knew that I'd be hitting 50, I'd be very happy. The biggest thing is just not let the scripting scare you away, especially if you're solo. Everything else you can kind of learn a little bit of here and there on YouTube and stuff and kind of get it through. But the coding is going to be the hardest part, and I see a lot of people kind of give up before they even try it out. So you really got to stick to it and remember why you started, and kind of push through. The biggest thing is really the API, is knowing the terms and words to search for, because you can search Google all day for how to make a player double jump or something like that. But if you don't know the exact keyword for the type of code you're using, it's going to be really hard to find. So getting into the API
Mm,
was the biggest part. And I think I posted something on the Roblox dev forum about how everything should have some kind of example in the API. Any kind of script clip should have some kind of little example just to help out, because they can explain what something does over and over as much as they want. But if you don't have an example of how to use it, it's going to be 10 times harder to try to figure it out yourself. You have to try to find some kind of other person's example online that might not coding that well. They might not be doing it right. So you could be learning bad way. Free models help me out a lot. Don't
sure.
be afraid to use free models. I know it's one thing in Roblox I've seen, and it's only in Roblox, where people will crap on you so hard for using a free model in the game. They think as soon as they see a free model, oh, it's not legit anymore. This game's trash. I'm out of here. And they don't realize that people on Unity and Unreal, they have the same toolbox, they
Yeah,
get the same stuff. They don't develop everything themselves every game. They reuse their assets, they reuse other people's assets, they buy people's assets.
of
Yeah, don't be
course.
afraid to do that, because when I was first starting out, I'd start with the free models and try to go through those and kind of dissect them, and we call them reverse engineer them, to see how I could learn from it. When people started coming in and seeing, oh, this is free model, this is trash, that's when I had to try to like, oh no, I got to scramble and try to make it look like it's not a free model. But that's how your game's going to be at the beginning, especially if it's your first one. You gotta just roll with the punches, and eventually you'll be at the level where you can make your own stuff. You don't have to worry about it. But I still use
Mhm.
the toolbox sometimes for a quick model here and there, not for scripting anymore or any code, but if I need a quick model, I'm never ashamed. I'll change some of the colors and all that, but yeah, don't be afraid to use the toolbox. That's what it's there for.
Well, that's a great piece of advice for younger generation. Thank you so much, Michael. What do you think could help builders to develop their own games for a living? You came with a lot of advices, but
Yeah.
how to make it?
So I'd say, and before when you asked the biggest mistake, I would say it goes along with that. Working alone, and that's probably my biggest mistake, starting off working alone. Even if you get to the point where you can do it all yourself, you have to ask yourself the question of, do you really want to do it all yourself? It's tough. And I would say when you're first starting out, try to find a good group of friends that you can trust and that are as passionate about making games as you are. Because you don't want to be the only one
Mm,
putting in all your effort and have somebody else that's not pulling their weight. It's going to bring down the team. It's going to bring down the morale. So just make sure you're all kind of at the same level and at the same passion level, so that you're all working at the group together. And I know it's going to be tough to kind of work together on creative ideas, management and things like that, but I think it's worth it to deal with a team with the downs so that you get the ups as well. I can't think of anything else. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is a good team. Maybe don't advertise until you know that the game's at a good state, because you don't want people coming in, seeing the game halfway done, and then just leaving and saying, "Oh, I don't want to play this anymore." So that way, when you do run an ad, when it's at 100%, they come and play. They don't think it's the same. Oh, this is that game that I played earlier and it's trash and blah blah blah, and they just take off.
and ask Flamingo a little kick.
Yeah, yeah. Ask Flamingo for some help. I actually thought about that too when I was
Yeah.
first developing, because I would see streams where kids were like, "Oh," actually, it was the streamer himself who would say, "Oh, I'm going to play these random games," and so the chat would tell him a random game to play. So when I was first starting out, I would try that hustle of being in the chat rooms, like, "Oh, you should try out Troop Life, check it out." But again, if he would have done that at that point of Troop Life, it would have been disastrous because it was halfway done and I was just trying to get my game out there,
Okay.
But I don't think it would have been ready for it, just like Board Life really wasn't. But yeah, the YouTubers definitely help. So if you can get some kind of deal with them, or I know they're hard to contact, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
I gotta figure out a way to get Troop Life on there.
Or they're easy to contact, but expensive to get.
Oh, gotcha.
Probably. They have usually a great community and powerful voice. It's really interesting, you've just said about building a team, because it's exactly what Dubbit thinks is missing, is that most of the builders, what I call builders is developers, 3D modelers, etc. Most of the builders of the Roblox community are on their own because they're at home with a computer
Mhm.
and they have different skills, different ideas, and it's very hard to team up with people you don't know at first, especially in your case when you have ideas and they get successful.
Yeah,
So why would you team up if they're
yeah,
successful? But at some point, what we want to offer at Dubbit is kind of a platform, a network where all the builders can come and exchange tips, ideas, and team up to build something specific. And we provide tools, we provide legal stuff, all the boring stuff, like how can I work for hire, I'm 20 years old, I'm at university, or I work full time here and there. Their passion is developing on Roblox. So
yeah,
we help doing this, and we help to connect builders and brands, because at some point brands bring different experiences and more traffic. We know that brands are very interested into Roblox, of course, because of
yes,
how much is it, like almost 50 million daily active users. So
yeah. It's crazy.
50 millions, it's crazy. we'll be launching this early next year. It's now in beta, and early next year, this community platform will be available for everyone, and it's free. And we hope to help new generation and some more. I can say you're not new generation because I'm older than you are, so
Oh,
that's
no,
fine.
yeah. But yeah, when I
But
saw
well,
Nickelodeon
thank you
on
so
there,
much,
that was
Mike.
awesome. Oh no, thank you. It
Yeah,
was
it's
fun.
pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, the
And
Nickelodeon game is really fun.
when I saw that, I said, as a game developer, well, as a kid when I was 13, if I could say I was making games for Nickelodeon, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if it's on Roblox, Unity, Unreal, whatever. If it could be a Flash game, if I made a game for Nickelodeon, I'd be happy.
Of course. Yeah, it's a cool game because lots of characters from our childhood, and the gameplay is nice. It's huge. The world is huge.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining the JC Unplugged team for
Not a problem.
today.
Thank you very
And
much for having me.
hope to speak very soon, see you very soon on different experiences and in Roblox. And of course, we'll keep in touch because we need talented people like you. So hope to see you very soon.
Definitely. Same here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mike. Have a nice day. Bye
You
bye.
too.